a lot to feel lucky about. There is a lot to count as your blessings and feel actually lucky and actually um, probably gifted with specific boons and benefits that the other generations, that including my own, did not get. You are at the crossroads of your career. You're just getting started. You're about to decide. You have an open spectrum to choose from. And at this time, there are a lot of earth-shaking changes happening. And I want to take you along a few stories and few indicators that using which I want to tell you that this is probably a great time to be at a crossroad like that. Before we get started though, I need to confess that the corona is not a myth. The virus is actually killing people out there. Even today I was out on the roads and I really felt the threat factor. In Tamil they call it BD, how people were concerned, really concerned that this is not just going to go away like that. This is here to stay, and the whole nation, every individual has to come together to actually make this get out of this um, a situation that the world has never seen before. So some of you might be personally affected too. There may be death in the family. There may be death in the friend circle. There may be suffering and people have come back of it. So there is this famous grief cycle where they talk about how we first deny, we try to avoid, we say it's shock and fear, but I don't think it exists. Then there is anger. Why me? Why did God choose me? Why did my generation suffer? Why my country? Why my city? Why my locality? Why my family? The frustration, the irritation sets in. Then there is depression. That's probably the worst that any human can go through, the emotion of depression. So there is when you are overwhelmed, you just cannot handle it anymore, you are helpless. There is hostility in the surroundings, and there is a flight. Should I just get away from it all? That comes. Then eventually you try to bargain with God, with the people around you, with yourself. Can I compromise? Can I give something and get something instead? Is there a give and take out there? Can I find meaning? What should I do to make sense of this all? And eventually a sense of acceptance. If you notice that the curve, there is an uptick in the curve, and the curve is actually at the highest point after these 4 phases. That is the 5th phase, the grief cycle. But that is where you explore options. That is where you put a new plan in place. And that is where you decide, this is the new real, and this is the new normal. And can I make sense of this reality? Can I accept this as my new life? And what are the new options that are in front of me? So I want you all to accept where we are, and I want you to look at what options that are presented to us at this time. See, it is true that it has affected us physically. The impact of corona has been, it has affected us physically. There is social distancing, people are dying, old people are at risk, very young ones are at risk. We know that. We know that. But I don't know if any of us really appreciate that the impact of corona is even more when you look at it economically, and much, much more. Even economics, you switch on CNN or Bloomberg TV News, you will hear about the stories there. But how has it affected you emotionally? Not many people measure it. Not many people give credence or value to it. Do you want to know how I feel? Is never a question that anybody asks, and nor does anybody want to hear what horror stories a person is going through. I agree, I acknowledge. I realize that more than physically, more than economically, emotionally, each and every one of us has been affected. I accept, but I want to look beyond that. Is that really true? This man, Vivian Balakrishnan is his name. He is the foreign minister of Singapore. And he came on TV recently And he kind of opened my eyes when he said, hey, wait, this corona thing is not some event in history never before seen. It's not changing the world into something that we didn't even expect, or we knew. It was not like a tsunami that we simply didn't expect, and overnight it changed the world. He said, 3 points he made. He said, was there no trade war between China and America, between China and India, between Japan and China, between Japan and America? Trade war existed. What did Corona do? It brought it out in the open, it made it even more ruthless, and it accelerated the impact of it. What about globalization, a pushback on globalization? Who wants to live in a world where all the ventilators in the world are made in a place where a disease comes out? And to protect yourself from that disease, you need to buy goods from that disease. Who wants to live in such a world? And that's the world we ended up living in. We have now realized people are breaking cell phones from China. People are saying, can we build something? Atmanirbhar Bharat, they are saying, can we build it ourselves? But my question is, this man's question is, wasn't it already happening? Didn't Gandhi want an Atmanirbhar Bharat? That has always been there. Wanting to be self-sufficient has always been the need. But this COVID accelerated it. And once more, the impact of digitization. Video conferencing is 40 years old. Moving all your data online is 35, 40 years old. MOOCs are 20 years old. Why are MOOCs suddenly popular? Why are microcredits and nano degrees suddenly popular? They were accelerated by Corona. It was not as if it didn't exist before and it has been brought into the limelight today. But the fact that Corona happened has moved that from a luxury you can perhaps enjoy to a reality that you can't escape of. So let's not give that too much credit. These existed. You should have been preparing for this anyway, is the point. Social distancing. Stay away from friends, stay away from man is a social animal. How can they stay away from family members? How can they stay away from friends? How can they stay away from colleagues? Can you please, we saw WhatsApp memes where they said, can you please allow me to come back to office? Leave letters where the employee wanted to come back to office. But when you think about it a little deeper, we realize we are not regretting our inability to spend time with our loved ones, with our friends, with our employees, with our relatives. That's not what we are regretting. We are actually regretting, we are actually dreading, we are afraid to spend time with ourselves. Think about that again. To spend time with yourself, to put a mirror to yourself, to live with that person in your mind, because there is nobody else around. You're stuck with that him or her. Unless you are at peace, unless your conscience is clear, unless you are at perfect equilibrium with that, Corona is going to be a tough taskmaster for you. To be at peace with yourself, to achieve inner peace. That's what I'm going to talk about today. In the company of one, achieving inner peace. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. And this story comes from Okinawa, a little island in Japan. There are two things that came out of it. One was karate, the power of the empty hand. We saw how Bruce Lee made it famous, and Jackie Chan talks about it too. The power of the empty hand and the ability to be in control of your strengths and judge the weaknesses of your enemy. The other beautiful thing that came out of Okinawa is what I'm going to talk to you about today, and it's called Ikigai. You might have heard of this word, and many of us have, but one thing we haven't heard of, I'm pretty sure, is how it's to be pronounced. I was surprised when a TED speaker came on stage and first spent a minute or so explaining how it is to be pronounced. He said, you're not pronouncing it right if you're not smiling when you're pronouncing it. Ikigai. Ikigai. It's not ikigai. It's ikigai. You have to smile, it seems. It's an emotion that comes packaged with that word. I really liked the way he introduced the word to me. And what is ikigai? Why is Okinawa famous for it? First of all, Okinawa is famous for very old people, people who live past the ripe old age of 100. In the whole world, centenarians outnumber everywhere else. The island of Okinawa is where the maximum number of centenarians are there. Special documentaries were done about them. People analyzed, people wrote books, people made PhD theses on it. There were 9 beautiful essence derivations that were brought out. Why are they so long-lived? Why do they seem happy all the time? I'm going to share 5 of them with you. It starts with a proverb, first of all. It seems they have a saying out there where they say, at 70, you're just a child. In Okinawa, if you are 70, you're just a child. At 80, you're just becoming a youth, an adolescent youth. At 90, if the ancestors come and invite you to heaven, hey, it's time, come join me in heaven. And that's when you tell them, it seems, wait a decade longer. That's the beauty of the proverb. It's slow, it's an enjoyable journey, and it takes a long time. Something to live for. That's the loose translation in English for what ikigai means. Something that wakes you up on Monday to get out of bed and get to work. Do you have a reason to be alive, to live? And to follow your ikigai, you need to find it. And to find it, they talk about these 4 overlapping circles. The first circle is, what do I love? What do I love to do? I might love to play basketball. I might love to sing in the rain. I might love to do molten crayon artwork. What do you love to do? And what am I good at? There is a difference. Many of us confuse this. I love listening to music, but I'm not good at music. I'm a consumer. I'm not a creator. That's the difference. What am I good at? What do I love? What am I good at doing? The third is, what can I get paid for? It's silly and meaningless to be very good at something, to really love doing it, but nobody is going to pay me for it. Right? So what am I good at? But what can I get paid for? And the final circle, that's where many of us lose track of our career decision. And that circle is, what does the world need today? So if there is an artist, this is my favorite example, and the artist says, I love making micro art on a grain of rice, and I am good at it. I can write the whole Bhagavad Gita on it. I can write it. In fact, I have been selling them. I've been selling these Bhagavad Gita written small, or Bible written small grains of rice. I've been selling them. The question is, does the world need such a person today? Of all the problems that you want to solve in this world, solve for humanity and make us go to the next challenge, to the next century, is that needed? Is the 4th question. When all these 4 questions are meaningfully answered, that's when you locate your ikigai, that overlap of all 4. Find it. Some people find it in a year. Some people find it while schooling. Some people find it and quit schooling. Some people find it very late in life. And that's when they switch careers. Dhoni found it. When he moved from hockey to cricket, he found it. And it's important. So you can be a bathroom singer. You might love to do that. But will the world pay you for it? Are you good at it? Is a question. You might be a barrister at law. You might be a lawyer. But what does the world need? The world needs you to be a leader and lead the country to independence. And that's when you quit a paying job. Mahatma Gandhi did it. He quit a paying job, said, I want to join the country's national movement for independence, and I would like to walk my way to freedom. That's what he did. And what are you paid for? That's probably a very large circle. Most of us choose engineering, choose medical, choose one of these lucrative, so-called lucrative fields without bothering whether we are good at it, whether the world needs more engineering colleges, and whether we love doing it. Be very careful. Be very careful dressing up your kids like this, because you are not letting them find their ikigai. There is this book, Viktor Frankl is the name of the author. He's a concentration camp survivor, and he talks about in the background there are actually dead bodies piled up like a small hill. Hitler's atrocities, Nazi concentration camp. And he survived the camp, and he writes, the only thing that differentiated me and my mental model of the world and my desire to meet my wife someday, she had died. But he was desiring, I'll someday meet my wife. And that's what set me apart from a similar person, similar body, similar build, similar background, similar job. Why did he die and why did I survive? I had a why. I had a why. And that made me endure anyhow. A why to endure anyhow. If you're going through difficult times, that's the best advice you can get. Find your ikigai. Find your why. Once you do that, any obstacle on the way, any difficulties in the path, you can actually overcome that. Following your ikigai. The second beautiful lesson that all those old people taught us was a Latin phrase, Greek phrase actually, festina lente. And it loosely translates again to make haste slowly. Paradoxical, like most famous proverbs and bits of advice, paradoxical. But when you rip it apart, when you dig in, you understand, yes, there is some sense and meaning in it. Go slow, take it slow. Make haste, but slowly. So the question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the famous chess player? How does the chess player approach the world? He thinks he is in or she is in complete control. Every coin, every man, every player, every horse and every pawn in its place, waiting for orders. Then when the order comes, I lift the piece and move it, and the piece moves, obeys my order. And then everything is in wait again until I give my next order. Complete control, no chaos, no unpredictability, no dice to roll. I am the master of my own destiny. That's the way the chess player plays it. Compare it with the gardener. What does the gardener do? The gardener sows the seed, yes, but after that, she waters the plant, perhaps. She ensures there are no weeds around, adds some fertilizer or some organic booster chemicals. Beyond that, there is water, there is air, there is moisture, there is sunlight. All that she can do is wait. She can wait for the thing to grow and gift a fruit or a flower or a vegetable to the gardener. All that the gardener can do is be Vigna Vinayak, that is the remover of obstacles. Troubles, I'll try to remove. What you become is left to you. I am not the control of your destiny, and I won't assume charge of that. You are going to become better than any of my dreams. I'm waiting for it. So, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the gardener or the chess player? The chess player wrongly, foolishly thinks that she is in control of everything that's happening around her. That's not the case with the gardener. Gardener understands that the nature is the one calling shots, and all she can do is make some moves and hope and pray and wait. You must remember this song, Konjum Mainakale, from Kandukunden Kandukunden. Right? She wants Diwali that day. Right? Indre Deepavali, she says. And then she says, Nattadum Roja Indre Pukkanam. I will sow the stick, the small vegetative transplant I am making of my rose plant, and it has to bloom. It has to bloom today. right now. So I wonder, when I hear that song, I wonder, is this happiness? Is getting the result happiness, or enjoying the journey happiness? That's my question. Because Kabir said, Dhire dhire re mana, dhire sab kuch hoy, mali sinche sogada, ritu aaye phalu hoy. So Kabir Das is telling the gardener, take it slow, my dear gardener. In its own time, everything will happen. You may be the gardener, you may have poured 100 buckets into the sapling you have sown today, but that doesn't mean you're going to get your mangoes tomorrow. In its own time, when the season is right, when the mangoes are ripe, they will appear and you will be able to reap your benefits. So take time, take it easy is the question. This is Tianmen mountain road in China. And when I look at this photograph, I always wonder, all those kids going on a summer trip to this hill station. I used to ask this question, will they ask the bus driver to rush to the mountain top? Hurry, hurry, I'm in a hurry. There are buses coming behind me. I need to be the first one to go to the top of the mountain. Will they be doing that? Or at every one of those hairpin bends, at every one of those corners, will they want to take a stop and do some selfie poses? Would they want to take in the surroundings, the beautiful valleys? Is it that they're enjoying the destination, or are they enjoying the journey? Is happiness in the destination or in the journey? Should they take it slow or should they take it fast? That's my question when I see this picture. So remember to make haste, but slowly. That's the second lesson from that book. The third is staying hungry. We might look at this as a negative phrase. How can I stay hungry? If I have hunger, I need something, I don't have it, I need to get it, and I need to satisfy my hunger. But the Japanese again have a beautiful phrase for it. They call it Hara Hachi Bu. Hara Hachi Bu means eat 80% full. When your plate is 80% full, take it away. When your stomach is 80% full, stop eating. And why would you want to do that is the question. But let me make some cases for that. Look at this boy, this stereotypical Western, obese, overfed boy. And what does he do when he eats? He eats and eats and eats and stops when he is full. I am full is the last word he utters before stopping to eat. I can't eat anymore. Look at this Eastern boy. This is the Japanese kid, probably from Okinawa. And what does he say? When does he stop eating? I am no longer hungry. So what the Japanese are trying to teach us here is, from being no longer hungry to being full is not a single moment. It's a span. There is an interval where on the left you are no longer hungry, and then on the right you are full. So stop during this interval itself before reaching the right end of the interval. And what benefits are there from it? Forget about eating. Of course, there are benefits in eating less than you really need, because that's when you start pasittu pusi, they say in Tamil, where you have to make those digestive juices demand for food. That is when you live a healthy life. And that is when you give an opportunity for your body to burn the stored fat in your body. Yes. But beyond that, even in life, do not keep your plate full. Stop when it is 80% full. Because nobody really won a Nobel Prize or became the greatest philosopher or wrote the greatest literature when they had a packed day. They needed to plan slack into their time. Unless they plan slack into their time, you will not be able to really be ready for the unexpected additional bonus challenges that life is going to throw you. If you're saying your day is packed, You know what you're saying? I have put all the interesting things that I will ever get in my day into my day. Don't bother me with anything more interesting. Would anybody want to do that? That's what you're saying. When you say your day is packed, okay, I won't bother you anymore with interesting things, is the answer I give you when you say that. So staying hungry, Hara Hachi Bu, is a beautiful lesson we learn from the old people in Japan. Being with friends. It seems in Okinawa, they make friendships very early in life. The first few years, bonds are made, boy and girl, and boy and boy, and girl and girl. They call it moai. And these people are like an extended family. These people are like an extended family. And this extended family is actually stronger than the bonds of family itself. You loan them money, you help them in times of distress, you go on trips with them. They have a really beautiful bond and they call it moai. And when I say friends, I don't mean Facebook friends and Twitter friends. They're not friends. They're not people who will come to you. They're not the Idukkan Kalaivadam Natpu kind of friends. They are fair weather friends. If you bought a new dress, they will put a like on your Instagram page. But if you don't have a dress, they won't buy one for you. Let's understand that. True friendship goes beyond social networks. And most colleges, most academic institutions do not stress this enough. They train us to do this. Can we fight? Can we pit our skills one against the other? Can we see who does better? Can we see who wins the race? Can we see who gets placement in that company? Only one seat available. And they don't do this with the hand. The same hands can also do this. They don't do this enough. Our school exams, our college exams, our semester exams, our assignments, our projects are all tuned towards fighting and competing, not enough about cooperating and working together. Can we come together? Can we collaborate? And can we cooperate? Is something that's not stressed enough in educational institutions. I make a heartfelt request to you all to find at least some projects that actually make students come. Each of them is skilled in one thing. One has a strength, another has a weakness, another has another strength. Can the strengths come together? Can the weaknesses be overcome by the other person's strength? That is something I really want to explore. And I encourage you also in your academic institutions to try. There's a beautiful Maori saying in New Zealand, the tribals, they call it He aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Basically, it's a Maori saying that means, what is the most important thing in the world? That's the question. He aha te mea nui o te ao. What's the most important thing in the world? And it's got three answers. All three of them are the same. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. It's the people, it's the people, it's the people. So unless whatever you're doing, whatever be your profession, whatever be your work, whatever you do that fills your day, whatever is your ikigai, if you don't have a dotted line that eventually comes and meets people, putting a smile on that person's face, making this person healthier, making this person go faster, making this person read better. If you don't have that as your end goal, no point even doing that. That's the lesson this beautiful phrase teaches us. There's the story of the stone cutter. And when one person asks the stone cutter, that person says, I am cutting stone. Can't you see? I've been asked to cut this stone and I'm cutting it. And then the person walks further and meets the other guy and asks the same question to that guy. And he says, I am cutting the stone. It's going to be the base stone of this pillar I'm building. There's a beautiful pillar that's going to come up, and I'm cutting the stone so that it will become a beautiful base stone. Then there is this third guy he meets. What are you doing? He asks. He's also cutting stone. And that's when the guy opens the questioner's eyes and he says, I'm spreading the religion. To spread that religion, we need a beautiful church here. We are building the largest church in South Asia. And that beautiful church is supported by one strong, powerful, large, beautiful pillar. And that pillar needs a stone. And I'm cutting the bottom stone. That's what I'm doing. All three of them are cutting the bottom stone. But the answers, one of them is cutting stone, while the other is spreading a religion, is an evangelist. So how you connect what you have in mind to how you are helping people out there is going to make a very important swing between how happy you are and how depressed and how mood out you are. So this is again the person who designs a beautiful, somebody is designing a beautiful device that's going to go inside the mechanical spring of a particular car. One is to just look at it as a spring inside the suspension of a car. The other is to always have in the back of your mind, why are you doing it? You're doing it so that you can make a person go from A to B faster in a more comfortable manner. Have that sense. That's the most important message there. The fifth lesson that this Okinawan centenarians teaches is to always live in the moment. Be in the moment. Always be in the moment. So, I'm sorry. Give me a minute. So there is this concept called flow, and it's very closely related to being in the moment. They say when you have challenges and when you have skills, if the challenge is too high and you don't have enough skill to meet it, all your emotions would be worry and anxiety and arousal. And when the challenges are too low and your skills are too good, you will have boredom. You will not want to be participating in it anymore. You will have apathy and you will be relaxed. What you want is a beautiful equilibrium between the sense of a challenge and the awareness of a presence of a skill. If you have the perfect equilibrium between challenges and skills, you will have what you call flow. And flow is nothing but what our famous Tamil poets called this. Meivaruttam parar, pasinokar, kan tunjar. They wouldn't want to worry about the pain in their body. They wouldn't be concerned about hunger. They wouldn't want to sleep simply because they are feeling sleepy. Ever thimayum merkollar. That is, if somebody wants to commit ill will towards them or be malignant towards them, they wouldn't bother. Sevvi arumayum parar, amaidi punkollar, avamadippum kollar. They wouldn't worry about what somebody criticizes them with. Who? Karma me kanna inar. Those who are focused on the karma that they have been given, if they are focused enough, none of these things will really matter, is what Nidhinari Vidakkam tells us. And that's a good message, because that is when you are in flow. Your challenges are just tantalizingly a little farther away from what your skills can currently provide you. That's the push and pull. There was this lady, Eller is her name, and she's a Hawaiian trekker. She's a professor actually, and she's also a trekking enthusiast. And recently, a year ago, I think, she got lost in the wilderness. She had gone, she was in the forest, and she took one wrong turn. She had left her phone in the car. She took one wrong turn, and the climate changed suddenly, And she was lost in the wilderness for 17 days. She survived. She ate what was available in the forest. She protected herself from wild animals. She navigated and somehow found her way out of the forest. 17 days later, she was found. And everybody asked her, what went through your mind? How did you achieve it? Were you not afraid? And to all those questions, she had been analyzing it too. And one answer that she gave was, how did I not end up being fearful? I focused on the moment. This evening, I need to eat. What do I get? It's not about day after tomorrow, where do I go? I need to locate my home. Where is it? That's not the question at all. Living in the moment, seizing that particular moment and solving that particular moment's problem was what retained her sanity, she says. That's the same truth with cricketers too. We obsessed with numbers, sitting in a couch, eating popcorn. We look at a scoreboard like this and we berate our bowlers and batsmen. Can't you see? There are 4.2 runs to get in 4 overs. No. For the batsman, it will be disaster if the batsman looks at the scoreboard and analyzes too far ahead. Dhoni says that very well. He's even called the Zen monk in cricket. He says that very beautifully when asked how he handles the game. He says, I play every ball to its merit. If he starts focusing on 4.2 runs per over, he won't be able to give credit to that particular ball that is bowled by the bowler against him. So taking one day at a time, taking one instance, challenge at a time is going to be very important in this post-COVID world. There is this beautiful book and it's called Thinking Fast and Slow. Daniel Kahneman is the author's name. And he talks about system 1 thinking and system 2 thinking. He divides the brain not into physical parts, but he talks about as if the brain has 2 different processors. And one processor, which is system 1, is 95% of the time the one that is in control, it seems. That's the one that is unconscious. That's the one that does very fast manipulative work on your brain. That's the one that does associations. It's almost as if in autopilot, and that is the one filled with biases, and that's the one that works on heuristics. It's not logical, but that's the one that helps you all the time. System 2, it helps you with rational thinking. If only you can quiet system 1 for a little while. This is like a monkey, always demanding attention, always giving you very fast answers, not always right. If only you quiet the monkey and silence it and give system 2 a little more time to take things slow. Remember, take things slow. That is where the logical, beautiful decisions, the rational decisions, where the reason and the intellect behind your whole lifetime of experience is used and brought to the fore. That is system 2 thinking. Many questions that are today answered by system 1 will be given better answers if only you can quiet the monkey and give system 2 the time it deserves. Jaya Mohan, he writes 1 chapter a day of the Mahabharata. When Murasa, it's called. He has written 25 books already, 25 volumes of the Mahabharata. He started in 2014 on Christmas Eve, and he's been writing 1 chapter a day. And he is in the 25th book, 25th volume of this series. Probably this is the largest ever volume or epic ever written by anybody. At least in India, nobody has written this large a corpus. And people have been asking him, are you a mechanical devil? Are you a robot? How can you write 1 chapter a day without a break for so long? And his answer was interesting, insightful. He said, I spend 5 minutes I spend 5 minutes in a day taking in the news. More than 5 minutes spent on the news is a waste of time because it's the same thing sensationalized, same thing repurposed, same thing given a different twist, a political angle. Useless. I don't want to do that. Interestingly, yesterday I was watching a TED talk, and Elizabeth Gilbert, who was the famous author of Eat, Pray, Love, she talks about the same thing. She says, be a steward of your senses. The senses are desperate. They are like these horses dragging your chariot along, each going in a different direction, trying to eat as much as it can, absorb as much as it can. But if you are a steward of your senses, if you can keep them in control, if you can be the gatekeeper and decide what you feed it with, that will be a very good step forward for your quest for bliss. That's what she says. So living in the moment, not worrying too much about the future, not worrying, not regretting too much about the past, seizing the moment that you are in. Because let's understand one thing. This is what happened with Misbah-ul Haq. Some of you might remember 2007 World Cup, and Dhoni made the master choice of using soft medium pace bowler Joginder Sharma. And Misbah-ul Haq was a very good batsman. He had hit sixers just the previous over. And instead of bowling his best bowlers, RP Singh, for example, or Irfan Pathan, for example, Dhoni gave the ball to Joginder Sharma. Joginder Sharma was not even a famous bowler, but he was different. He was deceptive. And what he did was ended up in history, because the first ball went for a sixer, but Joginder Sharma continued, and in the fourth ball, Misbah tries a scoop. And Srishant is back there and he catches the ball, and we win the World Cup. So using what weapons you have acquired in the BC era, right? There is BC and there is AD. BC is before Corona today. AD is after the disease. So the weapons you used in the BC era, the skills you learned, will not probably be relevant, will not be enough if you move to the AD era after disease. So living in the moment and understanding that instant adaptability is important is going to be the need of the hour. In Australia, they have this practice. They call it the walkabout. There's even a movie made of it. The Australian Aborigines, the natives of the Australian continent, they have a rite of passage when they grow from childhood to youth to adolescence to adulthood. They have a rite of passage. And for as long as 6 months during their life, they are supposed to leave home and head out into the open wilderness of Australia, the desert of Australia, and learn to live in oneness with nature, learn to understand its messages, be close to earth. They can't carry a cell phone, no charger, because there's no power out there. They have to just be there, learn to tell the time, learn to eat what is poisonous and what is non-poisonous, and learn to make friends, learn a language. 6 months into the wilderness. Today, when most of us are in the crossroads, our system one might say, quick, take a decision, quick. But the Corona game isn't over yet. How is it going to change manufacturing? How is it going to change nationalism? How is it going to change globalization? How is it going to bring a resurgence for rural development? There are so many questions that are being asked. Answers are not available yet. And in fact, what is worse, the answers that have been given today might be changed very soon. We don't know when this is ending. We don't know what it is changing into. Those are the two amazing twists that are facing us in the future. What's coming? We don't know what the new normal would be. We don't know when it will come. That's where we are. At this time, probably the best solution might be to chill, to learn a new skill, not to be hasty and take some quick decision, but instead to ask, to relax, to calm yourself, to live in the moment. So, those are the 5 beautiful lessons I thought will be relevant for us, particularly today. And they are following your ikigai, taking it slow, staying hungry, Hara Hachi Bu, remember? Being with friends, making lifelong relationships, and living in the moment. Thanks a lot. Let me see if there are any questions.
Thank you, sir, for an amazing session. It was really great to hear most of the cultural aspects,
Thanks a
either
lot.
it may be Okinawan culture, Ikigai, or Mauryan of New Zealand tribes, or even the Australian Aborigines. It was an absolute delight listening to you.
Thank you.
Let me check for the questions, sir. 1 second. You can post your questions in the chat window. Okay. There is one question from Anjana of third year IT.
My ikigai and how I found it.
Yes, sir.
So there was this introduction given about me which said I dropped out of college. So connection there is I didn't drop out of college. I was kicked out of it. I didn't do well enough. I focused on the wrong things according to them, and they asked me to leave. So I didn't plan it, but today, 20 years later, I'm so happy that I am running an organization within my company called Zoho Schools of Learning, which gives an alternative, a meaningful alternative to conventional college education. So the conventional college education is you give me money. Here, we give you money. The conventional college education is focused on exams and marks. At Zoho schools, there are no exams, there is no attendance. The conventional college education ranks you, rates you, and allows and gives you what they think you need, the degree or the domain you have to specialize in based on availability of seats. Here, Zoho schools, they allow you to choose and grow into your pursuit of passion. Whatever likes, whatever you like, whatever you're good at, you are allowed to take that as a passion. So that is my ikigai, working with the students and the faculty at Zoho Schools of Learning. And it's taken me quite a while. And unless I suffered very badly during my college times, I don't think I would have understood that this is really my calling. Thank you. How to adapt for the current moment. So,
Yes.
no, there are thousands of answers to that question, and whenever you see thousands of answers to a question, you can understand that this question is probably not answerable. So there is no way you can adapt or adopt this current moment. This is something unprecedented in history. Some people say this is something nobody prepared you for. They say so. The only thing you can do now, given that you have this moment to walk about, is learn a new skill. It could be a programming language, it could be the ability to write, start a blog, it could be a skill like designing something on a computer, it could be any of these. But learning a new skill at this time is probably the greatest gift Corona gave us. Nobody is going to complain to you if you say you learned something. And almost every interview you go to, there is going to be this few minutes at least where they're going to ask you, okay, all that is fine. What did you do during this 3 months period? If you're going to say I played PUBG with my friends, you know what's going to happen. If you say, I learned German, I saw that there is an app called Duolingo that is free, and I learned 10 minutes German every day, they're going to look at you and smile. There are tools today on the mobile phone where you can learn how to program. Don't think I am an art student or I am a civil engineering student, I will not ever need to learn programming. Those days are gone. Today, every individual, it is almost as important as reading, writing, mathematics, and programming. You need to learn how to work magic on a computer, how to give it messages, and how to get action done. Particularly working with data, can learn the art of sifting through mountains of data and deriving insights out of it. You are going to be a sought after individual in this future world. So that is how you adapt. That is how you adapt. I think you're drawing school for Tesla employees. Yeah, it came a little later. We have been around for 15, 16 years now. The Tesla school is much smaller, but yes, full credit to him, Elon Musk. Give us some method which you're following in Zoho School of Learning to keep everyone together. So we started the school in 2004, 2005, but along the way, we realized that we can have not only a school of technology, but also a school of design, a school of business, and a school for advanced study. And this year, in the middle of the Corona crisis, we opened our school online. So all the 175 students who had been given admission letters, we didn't say, wait, the college is not open, social distancing and all that. We used Zoho's own tools and we launched the school. And today, in fact, 10 minutes from now, I'm going to go back to class and I'm going to work with my students. We have video conferencing tools and online collaboration tools and chat tools and intranet tools. We use that to work with them. So you don't need to put any special effort to keep students together. They like together. Only when you announce examinations, only when you announce silly things like competition between one student and the other, when the divisions start. Just let them be. Just let them enjoy the social closeness. Let them enjoy the ability to collaborate. Things will really be beautiful if you can do that. What would your suggestion be to the college students who are willing to go beyond syllabus and work on their interests to achieve? Should they be really concerned of grades? So really, when you are standing in front of an interview panel, that's what they're going to look at. Don't think the shiny laminated document you show them about marks you've got, grades you've got, degrees you've got is impressing them. They are actually rolling their eyebrows. So, yo, one more person showing me certificates. What they want is what you did out of initiative. What did you do that nobody asked you to do? Nobody demanded from you. That is what I want to see. What itch did you scratch? What did you feel that you wanted to fix? Not because somebody paid you money, not because somebody gave you a degree, not because somebody asked you to do it, but because there was this thing that was burning inside you that wanted to come out. Abdul Kalam Salware, right? Something that didn't allow you to sleep. That is the real dream. Something that doesn't let me sleep. What did you do? That is the story they want to hear. Do you have a story? What are you wasting your time on without working on that story? That is my question to you. Work on your story.
So there are two more questions. So one is like Mr. Avinash Wilson has asked, like how effective you are in managing your time.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, what do you think that would have made that person think so?
How do I manage my time? So that is probably luck and probably the way my life has flown along. I have a very happy family and a good circle of friends who work with me. That's one important thing. The other thing is I don't have a division called work and life. It's not as if I struggle through work, biting my teeth, somehow finish it off so that in the remaining amount of time I can enjoy what people call life. For me, work is life and life is work, and I enjoy every moment of it. When you get into that kind of zone, when you start thinking like that, things will automatically fall into place. The universe will realign itself. Unexpected help will be offered to you if your ikigai is found, I would say.
Sure, sir, sure. So there is one more question. This is from Kritika, a first year student. I wanted to know why you were jealous of our generation, sir.
Yeah, so that's how I started. In fact, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on it. And then I realized probably there are people out there today affected irreversibly by COVID, and I might be injuring them by talking about how jealous I am. So I didn't want to elaborate too much on that. But what did I want to mean by that? What I meant was to live in interesting times. To live in interesting times is a blessing. I compare what we are going through with what my grandpa went through. Even if he wanted to do something interesting or unusual, he would have been forced by society to fall into line. Today, if you do something unusual, people will appreciate you, saying he is in interesting times, he is in challenging times, she is struggling through it, she is finding a way to look at her own future, she is sculpting her own future. And that ability, that gift that you have, that liberty that you have, for the first time, probably engineering and medical aren't the only two things many youngsters are going to look at. Probably today, this year is probably the first year, because engineering colleges and medical colleges aren't going to probably open. But I still need to feed my mouth. I still need to feed my brain. What am I going to do? There are 100 other things that I can do that already I could have done, but all the generations behind me weren't allowed to do. And today, I am going to be given liberty to choose that as an option. அதை விட உங்களுக்கு என்ன லக் வேணும், அதை விட உங்களுக்கு என்ன இல்லாம இருக்கணும், யோசிச்சு பாருங்க.
Yes, sure. Yes, sir. So one last question. How can there be perfection or improvisation if there is no competition? As you said earlier, for the colleges to use their student strength and team up. This is a question from Pranav Sharda of Tripoli.
Yeah. So that is actually a very wrong misconception. Only if there is competition, there will be success. Not really so. You don't need to compete with. So think about it. Think about just this question. You are in a company with young people, and there is another company with young people, and this company can be competing with that company. Yes, but even within this company itself, these young people start competing with each other about who is the better employee, who can come up with the great innovation, and so on. Do you think this company will even survive? Do you think that company needs to do something amazing for this company to die? It will die by itself. Competition is not needed. Cooperation is needed. Our body has so many different organs. Are those organs competing with each other, or are they cooperating with each other? Cooperation. So it is a misconception. It is an artificial scarcity, right? We have only 6 slots, 6 seats for computer science and engineering. 700 people have applied, so only the top 6 will be taken. The top 6 are not computer science interested people. They are people interested in biology and physics, and they got maximum marks on that. Biology and physics will help you in being a computer science graduate? No. That last bencher who is hacking code in Python, who is already dreaming about being the next Elon Musk, that is the guy who should have been given this computer science degree. So competition is an easy answer, not the right answer. We need to aim for the right answer. It will take time. COVID will give us that time.
Yes. Wonderfully explained. So this is one important skill, is a collaborative skill, which is needed for the 21st century. There is 2 more questions. If Tom permits, what does the world need now? This is a question from Joshiba, first year IT.
Just a minute. Yeah, what does the world need now?
Yeah.
Oh, the world needs more people who can actually ask the right questions. True. So we are probably a little too misled into thinking what we need is answers, right? Answer கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு Google இருக்கு. There is
Yes.
Google for giving all the answers. But can you ask the right question? Asking the right question is the first step, the first indicator of intelligence, and the first indicator of the ability of independent thinking. Can you think independently? So we need more people who can ask the right questions. There is this exponential growth, GDP exponential growth, population exponential growth, virus spread exponential growth. Why do we have to exponentially grow all the time? Why can't a software company be born in Tenkasi? Can't 10 people run a small company for 20 years and still remain 10 people? Why does a company have to grow all the time? So capitalism, one of the curses it has given is the quest for more. So have you asked that question yet? It's not enough for me. That question about Hara Hachi Bu I told you about. I am full, I will stop, versus I am not hungry, I will stop. How many decisions in life are we making where we say, I am not hungry, I will stop? We are like a virus. Forget about a coronavirus on us. Watch the movie called Matrix. In that movie, they say, man is the only virus. Everybody else can live. There can be a jungle with tigers and deer. If the deer population grows too much, tigers will eat. If the tiger population grows too much, tigers will die because of starvation, because not enough deer to eat. Only mankind is capable, only mankind is capable of exterminating even their own living space and committing a gross suicide. So ask those questions. Why can't we say podumendra manam ponseyum marundu? Why can't we say enough is enough? Why do we need to chase more all the time? That is a question you need to ask yourself. Ask such questions.
Okay. There is one more question, like from Bharatram of second year ECE. Sir, I read an article in Weird that office spaces are the things of the past, and I believe, how is your organization managing it?
Yeah, so very interesting question, because this afternoon we launched our first remote village office space. So you see a picture in the screen today, I think, in the screen. That is our headquarters. And we are probably not going to occupy it anytime soon. That is the one we have in Potteri. It can house 9,000 people. But we realize that COVID is not going to let 9,000 people come inside a glass and steel building like that with an central air conditioning. So today we launched our first mini office, 20 people, in the first floor of a small building, rented space in a village called Surandai, somewhere near Tenkasi. And we are connected, we are online, on the cloud, and we are working remotely. And that is going to be a trend in the future. More and more companies will start embracing this. Geography is history, they say. No longer you need to worry about where you are located and where your office is located, because working from home, working remotely, working from anywhere is a possibility today.
Yes. There is one question from a final year passed out student, that is there any possibilities for 2020 passed outs who are fascinated about programming to join Zoho through incubation program? Is there something called incubation? Yes.
Yeah. So what we do is, instead of giving a 1-hour interview across the table, we take 15 to 20 students and give you 7 to 8 weeks period of work in our company. We pay you a stipend and we give you a project and we see how you work on that project. And that's how the incubation used to happen. But because the company no longer exists in the campus anymore, and because we have shut down on new intakes right now because of COVID, the programs have been paused. You keep looking out on the website for more information. Someday soon we will launch it, and you're welcome to demonstrate what your capabilities are.
Okay. Right? So there's one question from do you have time, sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, one question from our faculty, like BC before Corona and AD after disease. It's a wonderful analogy. How to manage time, but normally people, including me, struggling between work and life.
So that's because we fill our day with things. That's why I brought that up. Fill it 80%. Only if you fill your day 80%, you will have time to look back at what you're doing. You can't be like Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt can run 100-meter sprints, but you need to run marathons.
Yes.
Ask Usain Bolt to run a marathon, you will realize that he drops off along the way. A marathoner looks at the scenery, takes water breaks, looks behind him to see what else is happening, and he enjoys the journey. He is not desperate to reach the final point. So the only solution for people pressed for time is you need to chop something away. And it's okay if you miss out on that. Have an 80% full day and spend the 20% time learning something new or analyzing your day and optimizing it. That should be the solution.
Yes, sir. There is a question from Harini of second year CSE. So today, many people's jobs are at risk. What do you think they should do at the current situation, current moment?
Yeah. So anybody's job which is based on something that they learned more than 5 years ago is at risk. Look at it as a formula, a thumb rule. If you learned something more than 5 years ago and you're somehow trying to pull through just with that knowledge, nobody's going to notice. I learned this 5 years ago. I can somehow manage. Yeah, let's finish my life. If you're trying to do that, your job is at risk. So if you look at it from a different point of view, what that means is you need to learn something. You have to be on the learner mindset all the time. What can I learn today? What can I understand and absorb and acquire today? That should be your. Can you be a learning magnet? That's the most important requirement today.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank
There
you.
is the final last question is what is your inspiration? What
So,
was your inspiration? Sorry.
yeah. So I mean, the next article I read, the next person, student, friend, or guru I interact with is an inspiration. Don't try to follow anybody. There is a beautiful book by, I'll type it in the chat there, by Austin Kleon. That's the name of the author. And the author has written 3 books. You take any book and read his book, and it'll be really inspiring. And in that book, he says, don't follow somebody. Instead, follow what that person followed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I adopted that. Whenever I heard it, I realized, okay, this is amazing. So I started following what Austin Kleon followed and what Seth Godin followed. So these are all famous people. Now I have told you about Austin Kleon. You should find out who Austin Kleon was inspired by. That is the best way to really learn. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session and awesome answering all the questions, starting from different things to Seth Godwin of how to be a tribe or follow a community. And on behalf of the LISET management staff and students, I thank you for your wonderful session and your time and effort to address our students. It was a memorable session and it was a great start for Careerthon. As you said, marathon is more important than a spirit.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Akshaya, for joining us. Have a great day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, participants.
Thank you all. And tomorrow we'll have a session at 11:30 by Miss Pialina Bharat Kumar of Hyundai. Hope to catch you tomorrow. Thank you then. Have a great evening. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Kalub sir, for joining. Thank you, Ekvin ma'am, GK sir, all the staff members.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you. Who is that? Okay. Thank you, JK san. Okay. Take care.